Harper Wolf sat in Gulliver's cafe in the smoke, sipping a hot chocolate with a precarious mountain of whipped cream on top of it, thinking about how absurdly her life had changed since she was last here. When Harper had lived in the smoke, the smoggy industrial capital city of the sunless provinces, she'd been a lonely 11-year-old who lived above a fix-it shop and occasionally attempted to initiate conversations with inanimate objects, such as books. She'd had very few memories of the first 6 years of her life, and certainly had no idea of who she really was. That had all changed 2 years ago, when 3 figures turned up outside Harper's house in a flying canoe. Her previously forgotten childhood best friend, Trick Torres, along with his uncle Fletcher and Helger, a grumpy kobold, a small squat creature who could shapeshift into various household items, had informed Harper that she was a spectacular, a magical performer with special powers from the stars. She'd left the smoke with them and started an apprenticeship at the Wondria, their travelling theatre. She was now going into her 3rd year. Along the way, Harper had learned to conjure fire through song, levitate herself with a dance, and build magical sets that changed and grew as the performance went on. She'd also faced more dangers than she'd ever felt possible, but she didn't want to think about that right now. Not when there was hot chocolate to be enjoyed. "Now, Gulliver, talk to me about these marshmallows." A voice floated towards her from the counter. "How big are we talking? Pink or white? What's their structural integrity like? Give it to me in layman's terms." Harper grinned as her best friend grilled Gulliver, who gave as good as he got. She could hardly believe that Trick was really here. The Spectaculars had fled the smoke years ago, but an accident had meant that Harper had been left behind with her mum. They'd rarely ventured back since, which was fair enough, Harper thought, given that they'd been chased out by a minister who deemed Spectaculars a dangerous species. However, when Harper had announced over the summer that she intended to go back to the smoke to visit her mum, Trick had immediately started a campaign for Fletcher to allow him to go as well. Fletcher had been understandably reluctant, but had eventually agreed to let Trick come for the last week of the holidays, as long as he wore a disguise and was utterly, disgustingly sensible. It was odd to see Trick without his customary blue hair, but such a jaunty colour would not be tolerated in the smoke, so they'd used hair chalks on him to turn it a murky brown. Harper had also had to leave her beloved colourful clothes at the Wondria and reassimilate to the smoke's obligatory colours of beige and grey. It had been more than worth it, however, for Harper to get to spend time with her mum. A letter didn't have quite the same effect as being able to actually hug Flora, to get to smell her perfume and engine oil scent, and to sit on the sofa until late at night, talking about anything and everything, over a giant box of biscuits. Speaking of which, how many boxes of shortbread leaves do you think Fletcher will let me try to smuggle across the border? Trick asked, flopping down in the seat next to Harper with an enormous hot chocolate of his own. Don't even try, Harper warned. Trick sighed. Life's so unfair, isn't it? I don't know how you cope. Despite the inevitable smogginess and greyness of the city, it had been fun to have Trick here for the week. They'd explored the abandoned theatre borough, where many spectaculars had once lived and performed, and walked the streets with ice cream while trams and bikes whizzed past and their drivers shouted at each other. Trick, with his natural penchant for drama, adored watching people have arguments in the street and would follow a screaming match like a rapt audience member until Harper managed to drag him away. What time is Fletcher picking us up tomorrow? Harper asked, taking a sip of her drink and immediately getting whipped cream on her nose. 5 o'clock, Trick informed her. He wants to leave plenty of time to get back. He's worried about storms. I think Mum's got something special for tonight, but I don't know what. Harper felt a flash of trepidation. Her mother wasn't an especially good cook, nor did her many talents extend to party planning. However, she'd been dropping hints and making knowing faces all week, so Harper had more than enough reason to suspect her.